Paul Simondak. I'm from Orlando, Florida, and I wanted to announce that I'll be one of the color guard judges for the UITM International Virtual Marching Band Competition 2022. This event has been organized by the Golden Phoenix Marching Band and will be hosted by UITM, the University of Technology Muara in Malaysia. I wanted to thank Mukri for giving me this opportunity and reaching out on Instagram to ask me to be a color guard judge for this competition. So I can't wait to see all the color guard performances for this competition. So have a good show and I'll see you there.
Hello everyone and welcome to our first judge sharing session of UITM IBMBC 2022. I'm Jairi and I'll be the host for this very beginning session. As for our judge today, he lives past beyond the Bermuda Triangle, a huge and strong nation with the total president change of 46 and 117 Congress. A nation that famous with pabro movies and Justin Bieber as well. And also the main country of the sports of the art. Here I present to you, Mr. Paul from USA.
Hello. Okay, now that we receive data from our friend, which you have joined a lot, most of the event, and mostly these are the main event like WGI and DCI. So, but before going further of this detailed thing, kind of thing, tell us a bit more of your journey of becoming as a professional player, color guard player. Well, hi everyone. My name is Paul Simondak. I live in the U.S. I started color guard. I was actually in band in middle school and high school, and then I joined the color guard. My brother actually taught me how to spin rifle. I joined my color guard program for 4 years. I took a break. I marched Carolina Crown for 3 years, and after I aged out with Carolina Crown in 2016, I was trying to post a lot of videos, a lot more. I started teaching a lot more, and right now I'm still marching with UCF Pegasus World for the Winter Guard season and try to choreograph and tech where I can, so teaching when I can.
Oh, that's cool thing to hear that. What was the first equipment that you played as a color guard?
A rifle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so my brother, he didn't do color guard, but he knew how to spin a rifle from his color guard friends, and then he taught me how to do it. So I picked up a rifle first.
Well, that's very cool that your brother knows about the color guard. And somehow you joined it as well as becoming a professional player. There's a one question that I need to know, and it's very important. How are you today?
I'm good. Right now I'm a tax accountant on the side, and work is still fine, but honestly I'm feeling pretty good. I practiced last night and feeling good.
I'm glad that you're okay. Okay, the next question is, since you already know about the DCI and the WGI, can you tell us a bit the environment that you feel between those two?
So over the years, I started in 2009, so that's still sort of in the old age of color guard, where technique was really, and show design was really very simple, right? World class was really just easy to read. And over the past 10 years, so since 2010, color guard has shifted a little bit away from the old technique and has shifted towards more open ideas, show concepts that are a little bit more out there than we could have ever thought, costumes that are crazier, props that are crazier, and just doing a lot more, having more layers. I think nowadays, especially with the popularization of Uitmivmbc back in 2012 and 2017, tricks have become a lot more common for the best color guards out there. So for DCI, when you see Santa Clara Vanguard or Boston Crusaders right now, and all the other DCI and Fantastic WGI color guards, tricks are really, really common nowadays. Not to say that technique is out the window, but it's hard to say what the judging panel gives credit for, right? I think it's important to note that DCI still really shows that a color guard like the Blue Devils can still have really, really awesome technique and really look similar across the board. And it's still nice to see that from a judging panel, because they should be rewarded for looking the same, spinning the same, performing the same. So that's where we're kind of at. There's a lot of tricks, but there's still technique relevant throughout the activity.
I see. Yeah. Even I've watched some of the videos that mostly they are doing tricks and so on. I mean, that gives us much more inspiration, especially on our country.
Yeah, so I think it's important that social media is, international, right? That's how me and Mukri know each other. But that's how color guard is proliferating nowadays to younger generations, where they have to learn, like, oh, this kid is doing a 2-turn with an illusion under an 8 on Saber. I need to do that. So that's becoming more common.
Yeah, as we are, we also will do the same. But it's gonna take a while though. Okay. Next question. Okay. Now that you have tried, now that the performance you have joined as a team of one of the members in the team that you have joined. So tell us, how does the combination works when it comes to between the other section, especially when you are being as a color guard player to connect with the other section, especially on DCI? How is it?
With drum corps, so the culture and dynamic of a drum corps is really, really important. No two drum corps feel the same. Like, it still feels like marching band, but when I was at Crown, so I can speak for Crown, they really wanted us to get to know other sections just by eating together, meeting each other. I think it's funny because sometimes a lot of the color guard people don't know about music in general. Like, I know about music because I used to play the flute and the piano before, and I used to sing. But I have that connection with the other sections that, like, I can talk about the music, like, oh, you sound great, like, I love hearing that. And connecting with the horn line and connecting with the battery and the pit, it's really interesting when you know the music more and you can really appreciate what they're doing. I think it's cool that they also appreciate what we're doing as color guard members, because it's a little bit crazy, when you're doing tricks on the field, like, you don't, I'm doing exchanges over the tuba line, like, they need to trust me in a sense. But really just getting to know each other. It really also depends on the drum corps, but I think most people really do a good job of just, like, we're all just people. We're here together for several months. We're training together. We're on the bus together. We're eating together. We're sleeping together. We're all in the same environment for so long that you just can't help but to get to know people and see each other every day. And I think that's really cool. And so with the communication part, it's just really just making sure that, you do your job as your section and all of it will come together. It's really weird.
Yeah, when it comes to working together, is the communication is pretty much the very important thing in terms of the performance, right?
But yeah, I think the most important thing, is the head drum major. Obviously, the head drum majors, controlling the whole team. From a DCI perspective, they actually do a lot of work. They have to organize a lot of events. They have to make sure that the leadership team is operating in the same way, and that all the information is trickling down from, the director, the corps director, and is showing whatever the corps'
main ideals are, right? You know, it is, we like to say like it's more than just drum corps, right? It's more about being a better person and being a great performer, but also representing the drum corps that you're a part of.
That's very cool to hear from you. All right. The next. It's gonna be a little bit sensitive. What could be the worst day have you ever encountered throughout the journey?
So I think the worst part is when you make it to a higher level, right? When I first joined Carolina Crown, you know, I went from high school level and I was in single A, right? So that's not one of the highest classes in high school or scholastic. And I went to world class. So it was quite the jump. Um, and I remember in 2014, I always tell this story. So I was doing fine during band camp, during spring training for that month. We learned the show. We're at Gardner Webb. It was fine. We went on tour and we start performing. We had 32 performances throughout the summer. So I think 2 or 3 performances in. So this is in the beginning of the summer. I had a horrible show. It was terrible. I had about maybe I think 20 tosses in my show overall. I dropped my rifle. No, I dropped my saber 3 times in the opening song. I
Oh,
dropped my flag twice. I dropped my rifle twice in the closer. And in the last flag feature, I dropped a 45. So it fell on the ground. I couldn't recover for 16 counts. And then I threw the last double 45, and then I dropped that too. So it was really bad. And mentally, it it took a toll on me, you know, like I don't want anything like that to happen again. And I know that like most people have really great performances, and just me being like, you know, hard on myself, you know, it was kind of devastating to have a performance like that. So I remember when I came off the field, I was like sobbing because I was crying profusely. I'm like, ooh. And then my friend was like, Paul, don't cry. We need to be professional. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like crying off the field. And we're standing in the circle with, you know, after the show, we're talking to our instructor, right? And he's talking to us. And I'm sobbing in the background, right? So I'm crying. And then my instructor's like, look at him. And he points at me in the back. And I'm holding onto my hand, like my friend, she's shaking. I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, look at him. He's devastated. And I'm just crying.
oh,
And yeah, and then he was like, he knows what he did wrong, right? He knows that that wasn't his performance. And so it took me 6 more shows just to get back into it. But I think what we call that in drum corps is called the wall, right? So everything seems to be going fine. You know, you're getting really good. And then all of a sudden you're just like, you can't do anything. I couldn't throw sevens at one point, which is devastating for me. Um, and that wall, you don't know what to do, right? It's a mental block. You can't catch things. You're in a mood like color guard isn't fun anymore. You don't want to do this. You don't want to be here. You want to go home. And you know, it's funny because you're spending all this money and you want to be there, part of this world-class drum corps or wherever you're trying to march. And that wall can be really devastating because you don't know what to do. And so it's important that you communicate with the rest of your team because some people don't realize that, you know, like we're doing this together, right? We're here as a team and you're not going through it alone. Some people handle it differently, so they might not want the constant feedback because they're in a mood and they're at the wall. But at one point, like you yourself as a member just have to get over that and you will be so much better for it. And so I think that's the worst part about drum corps. I don't know if that happens in WGI. It might happen to people, but for drum corps, because you're there every single day, right? You're there Saturday to Sunday or Sunday to Saturday every day for a month, and the wall can happen 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in. You're on tour. You know, maybe it's July. It's the end of the season. It could happen at any time. It could happen in your second year. So that's the worst part, but if you can get over it, it's worth it.
I understand. So the way to beat that up, to beat the overcome of the wall, it means that we're gonna chew that wall, right?
Yeah, you gotta punch it. You gotta kick it.
Punch and kick or whatever it is, or will be elbow it. Okay. Um, the next question. Okay, is it's kind of a bit wide, and it's happening throughout over the world. It's the environment that you feel when you do on the floor between the virtual. How is that different for you, especially on your country?
um do you mean like watching, like seeing, or like performance wise, like showing off performances virtually?
Uh, in terms of performances.
Oh, performances. Okay. um well, on the field, obviously, there's an audience, and that's really really important for feedback, right? It's from a design perspective, it's really important, because I sometimes design and choreograph. But you create moments throughout the show that need that sort of feedback. And as a performer, that kind of feeds your adrenaline, right? As soon as like a big section ends, you catch a big toss, you're holding it, and the crowd is screaming at you. It's a good feeling, right? And you're able to like press on and keep going, right? That may be the end of the first song, but you still have like 5 more songs to go. Like there's um, a really important feedback loop there that keeps your adrenaline up the entire time. And that's why we love performing, right? And so in a virtual environment, we don't have that. And it's really, really hard to go full out sometimes, right? Because you may catch your big 7 and it's a solo moment, and then there's nothing. there's no audience feedback, and that can be really hard for some members. So this past season for WGI, there's all those virtual performances. I did a virtual performance as well. It was really it was kind of sad, seeing these great, fantastic performances, and they're just in an empty gym, right? And so you can tell that, obviously, my favorite show this past winter was Center Grove High School. They did this beautiful rain show, and they were doing trick after trick, and it was beautiful. And they were just in an empty gym. Like it was really weird watching it. Like I know that it's like so good, but like it was really surreal seeing them like in full uniform. They're wearing masks, and um not having an audience is really really weird. But I think in that environment it's different. So right, you're in an empty gym, but for like my video that I did, or like posting on social media, um it's a little bit different, just because you can edit it. You are performing like to the camera directly rather than to an audience, and that's also a different feeling, right? So like whenever I'm talking to the camera versus like me talking to a crowd in general, it can feel a lot different performance wise. And I think that's also important to know. So there are, good cases where like, so long as you're performing to the camera and you can feel the energy of my performance through the camera rather than like, it's just kind of out here, that's very different too. So
Yeah, for us, we do also feel kind of weird when we do it in a virtual way,
mhm.
because yeah, in front of us are the cameras, and we don't really care about the surrounding at all. While doing it on the floor, it's totally different, where the audience is looking at you. And it's only just a first try when you do it on the floor.
Yeah,
while on the
true.
video, while you doing on the camera, you can do that at any time. You can edit it every single one of it. But yeah, yeah, it's totally weird for
Yeah.
us. All right. So the next one. Uh, what was the best achievement, and what would be more the achievement that you want to achieve too?
Probably my best achievement in color guard was getting best color guard, or the Zingali Award in DCI in 2016
We
with
hear that.
Carolina Crown. And that was really important for Crown in general, just because, we've never gotten that award. That was the
Oh, I
first
see.
time. Blue Devils, obviously a great color guard. Like we finally beat them, and it's also a difficult award to get, just because you need to consistently do it all 3 nights during finals week. It takes the score of prelims, semis, and finals and puts them all together. So you can't just be good on finals. You have to be good the entire time. And so that was probably one of my greatest achievements. Also because going through that season as a co-captain was really stressful. I always tell people this, that when you're captain, it's not supposed to be fun. Like, yeah, it is, color guard is fun, but as a co-captain or a captain or any sort of leadership role, you have a lot of responsibilities to make sure that the color guard is being successful, right? As I said before, the leadership, is the information from the core director and the staff, is it trickling down to the rest of the organization and to the members? And going into that last month was really stressful, because we got to the point where our show was really, it was done. And all we had to do was clean and practice and rehearse and just get way better, right? It's getting those last tenths of a point, to be perfect. And it was tough, but obviously it was worth it. We put out a great show, and the color guard was fantastic that season. So it took a lot, but we were able to show up during finals week. So that was back in 2016, which is 6 years ago. Oh my gosh. But right now, my last goal that I wanted to achieve in color guard was to just be in independent world class finals for WGI. So I'm currently marching with UCF Pegasus World. 2 years ago, I marched with them in 2020, right before COVID hit. We were slotted to make finals, but hopefully this year we will be slotted again to make finals. And then I will be done marching because
Oh,
I feel really old trying to march right now. My body feels, the aging process, but that's my final goal, really. And I think in the future, just to be a, a really good choreographer and designer for color guards when I can.
you're hoping for the future would be the best achievement and the best for your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just want to be part of color guards still.
Yeah. So no pain, no gain, isn't it? Okay. This will be our last question,
Okay.
and that would be what is your hope for participants who will be joining in this event?
um, I mean, my hope for them is that they have a great performance. I said this in my intro video, but I love color guard, and I love seeing performances and seeing people perform color guard. And I think it's also important, over the past 10 years that color guard is around the world, which is really cool to see. Um, we at WGI, there was only a few independent international groups, but now that we have color guard at all levels, in high schools and whatnot, and it's so nice to see kids doing color guard. And people always ask me, they're like, like, Paul, how do I get good? Like, how do I get better at this? But I'm like, obviously practice, focus on your technique, the right answers. You just got to show up and do it, right? And I think you also need to remember just to have fun, and that, remember, this is a performance activity, and that we want to see you succeed. Okay. Even as a judge, obviously, our job would be to criticize, but it's not to beat you up. It's to give you constructive criticism and to say how you can improve as a performer, right? Because even now, as I'm marching, I am being hard on myself, and I'm trying to be a better version of myself as I march this season, because I can still grow as a performer. And so I hope that whenever they perform, that they have an awesome show, and be grateful that you have the opportunity to perform, because not everybody gets that. So just be grateful for that. So I can't wait to see everybody perform, and it's going to be a great show.
We do. We see. We'll see about that. Okay. So yeah. So there you have it, everyone. Mr. Paul from USA. Thank you. Thank you again so much for joining in the talk, and uh, uh, I hope everyone get a catch throughout this session. This is not the end yet, because we have another 6 judges who will come up and share what's behind of their successes, and more to come for you guys on the next talk. Also, see you guys on the next talk. Sounds brings unity. Bye.